Welcome to Fireside Giants. My name is Alex, my co-host here, Anthony Rivardo. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe below. Always love. Actually, let me redo that. I kind of stumbled over myself. All right, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Fireside Giants. My name is Alex, my co-host here, Anthony Rivardo. Today, we want to take a look at the Giants rookie minicamp, the main takeaways from yesterday and today. A lot going on, a lot of good quotes and comments from the players. All 11 of the Giants rookies showed up to minicamp, which is obviously a great sign. Don't want to see anybody not showing up. They had a lot of players, 11 rookies. That's a ton of players the Giants now have in Kayvon Thibodeaux and Devin Neal, the 5th and 7th overall picks. Their 2 first-round picks signed their rookie contracts today, which is a little bit early for rookie contracts to be signed for the Giants in recent years. This is definitely an exciting situation since it seems like they wanted to get these deals done, sign of good faith. Obviously, it's fully guaranteed, a lot of money going into these 2 players, but they're going to be worth it. And I promise they're a lot better than the players we've had in the past. And having these guys on cost-controlled contracts that we talked about yesterday is even better. But Anthony, before we dive into the main takeaways from rookie minicamp, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to see all 11 of the rookies. Obviously, this is a big draft class that Joe Shane just put together, 11 draft picks, 4 above the normal 7. I mean, he did a phenomenal job. They started out with 9 picks. They traded down a couple times, ended up with 11 total picks, and all of those rookies did show up to the rookie minicamp, which is great to see. And getting these guys signed immediately is always good because it allows the Giants to plan ahead in terms of their salary cap. So the sooner that they have Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeaux under contract, which as of today they do, the sooner that they can take a look at their salary cap numbers and say, well, maybe we need to go ahead and sign this veteran in the free agent market. And I think that's what's really important about getting those contracts signed immediately. So taking a look at, those 2 signings, I'm curious to see what the Giants cap numbers are going to look like once this is all processed by the NFL, what their salary cap numbers are going to look like. So we'll definitely have to stay tuned to that because I know that there's been, a little bit of questioning towards Brian Daboll. Like, do you want to sign a veteran cornerback on the free agent market? So that's something that they could maybe entertain now that they've got these guys under contract.
Yeah, so there is definitely the possibility they go out and sign a corner. They did mention this as one of the quotes. So replacing Bradberry, this is what Daboll had to say about it. We have a lot of guys in today in rookie camp and tryouts and stuff. We had the guys here yesterday, really all camp, phase 2, guys working hard, good group, take it day by day. We'll work with the guys that we have. We're going to try to add and at times replace guys if others are playing better, really a day-to-day process. So based on what he's saying now, I get the sense that replacing Bradberry is going to be more of like see how it unfolds type of thing. We'll see what players are playing up to par, if they're playing well, if they're not playing well, and we'll, start guys accordingly. What is the benefit of bringing in an established veteran right now? It's going to be a 1-year rental, right? The money that we have, we're talking about an established veteran on a 1-year rental as probably that stopgap solution. Would you rather roll with an Aaron Robinson or a Dane Belton, or would you rather roll with a Cordell Flott? There's a ton of different defensive backs. I think Belton more of a safety, but there are defensive backs, Rodarius Williams, another guy coming off the ACL tear that will be competing for starting snaps. However, they're all unproven. We don't know what Flott is. We don't really know what Aaron Robinson is. We definitely don't know what Williams is coming off the injury. So that is the argument to make that okay, maybe a veteran corner can at least be competent on the outside and help this team win some games. But alternatively, it's a rebuild. What is the point of a rebuild? To help your young guys take steps forward and learn new, round out their fundamentals, build better technique, and get the necessary experience and reps to help develop them, right? That is what a rebuild is all about. So I don't really see the point in going out and getting a veteran cornerback because then you're just stalling the growth of some of those younger guys who should be getting those snaps instead. Anthony, are you kind of in the same boat, or do you think you'd prefer to get a veteran corner?
I think it might be beneficial to get a veteran corner just because of the fact that you never know what happens with injuries, right? Adoree Jackson, we're hoping that he's healthy for the entirety of this upcoming season, but he's dealt with a lot of injuries in the past, and he even had injuries this past season in his first year with the New York Giants. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to go out there, get a veteran minimum contract, get a veteran cornerback, and just have him be some quality depth. Because yes, there are a lot of young guys out there that I want to see hit the field and develop. Cordell Flott, Rodarius Williams, a bunch of guys out there that the Giants have on this roster. But I think depth is really important, especially when you're talking about some of these guys maybe being a little bit injury prone and some of these guys coming off of injuries. So I do think that it would be beneficial for the Giants to go out there, find the veteran cornerback on a veteran minimum deal and sign him.
Yeah, I think that's the better argument, right? You're not going out and getting that veteran cornerback for CB2, you're getting him because you need insurance for Adoree Jackson. That is a much better argument than saying he should be taking over for James Bradberry and stalling the growth of other players. But if you're looking just to, try and supplement any potential problems with Adoree Jackson, his injury history, I think that's probably a good logic to follow. So here, if you don't really know what rookie minicamp is, this is how Dable describes it. He says it's for you, the players, to get to know us to get to know you. There's only a couple days. We'll do stuff on the field. There's a long way to go, as they can see. I think it's really important, particularly in terms of some of the tryout guys, to really minimize the package, not motion shift and do all these crazy things. Just see who can perform out there, and maybe we can find a couple guys in terms of the tryout guys. Joshua Corbin, running back, I believe, has looked pretty shifty out there. He had a pretty gruesome injury in college, but seems to be making some waves. I've seen his name pop up a couple times. But one of the more exciting things and one of the more interesting dialogues that I did see was between Cordell Flott and Wan'Dale Robinson. So those two guys played against each other last year when LSU went and traveled to Kentucky. And basically, Wan'Dale Robinson said that Cordell Flott was the toughest slot corner he faced in college football last year. And Flott kind of mimicked the same thing, saying that he was the toughest receiver he had challenged. And he's really, really shifty. And Dane Belton also, he from Iowa played against Robinson for 3 years in college. And he said he's a really quick player, gets in and out of his breaks really well. I think he's an electric player. And here's an interesting thing for you, Anthony. Do you think that Mike Kafka targeted Wan'Dale Robinson specifically because he wanted to run a couple similar things? He's not Tyreek Hill, but he kind of wanted to utilize that package of Tyreek Hill, the alignments, the slot, outside boundary utilization, jet sweeps, end arounds, screen passes. Do you think that he kind of wanted to mimic that with a guy like Wan'Dale Robinson, or do you think it was kind of like just more like they thought he was the best player available for them at that spot?
I think it was more like the Giants wanted to add depth at wide receiver. You've got, again, a lot of injury-prone players at that position. Kenny Golladay, injury-prone. Sterling Shepard, injury-prone. Kadarius Toney, injury-prone. They needed some depth out there. And Wan'Dale Robinson, at the time when they were looking at their draft board, he was the player that played that position that fit their needs the best. And I think what they were looking at with Wan'Dale is more of what Brian Dable was mentioning, how they had some gadget players over in Buffalo, and he wants to utilize Wan'Dale Robinson in a similar way to the way that they use their gadget players over in Buffalo. So Mike Kafka, I'm sure, is going to bring some of the principles that he learned over in Kansas City under Andy Reid, but I don't see a similar skill set between him, Wan'Dale, and Tyreek Hill. I don't think that they really play the same way. For me, Tyreek Hill is a true receiver. He is a phenomenal route runner. He knows how to get open. He comes out of his breaks and he comes out of them fast. He knows how to get open, and they can use him pretty much any type of way. Wan'Dale seems like you're going to have to fit him into specific scheme, the specific role within your scheme. He's going to have to catch screens, swings, all that kind of stuff, and line up in some weird places to get involved with the game plan like a gadget player would. Now, hopefully he develops into being something a little bit more, and I'm sure that people said exactly what I just said about Wan'Dale, about Tyreek Hill when Tyreek Hill was coming out of college. But for Wan'Dale Robinson, I think entering into the 2022 season as a rookie for the Giants, I think it was more about Brian Dable wanting a specific gadget player and not wanting to utilize Kadarius Toney specifically as a gadget player, limiting his skill set. Because now they don't have to limit Kadarius Toney's skill set. They can develop him as an outside receiver or as a slot receiver with good route running, right? They can use him to his full potential while they allow Wan'Dale to be their gadget player.
Right. So the Giants okay, this is the logic that I'm sure Mike Kafka, Brian Dable, and Joe Schoen follow. If we think a player is going to end up being a first round caliber talent, it doesn't matter where you take them, right? They saw Wan'Dale Robinson and they said, look, let's look at Tyreek Hill as an example. Of course, he has the elite speed and he's much more proven, but years ago when he was a draft pick in 2016, nobody knew who he was. In fact, most people had him as an undrafted free agent. Okay, so keep that in mind. Right now, Tyreek Hill, arguably the best receiver in football. But back in 2016, when he was a 5th round pick, 26th overall, nobody knew the guy's name. Nobody knew about him. Nobody cared about him. Nobody thought he was going to be this good. So we're talking about this in context, like we have no idea who this guy is. If you knew who Tyreek Hill was going to be in 2016, how high would you draft him? Would you draft him in the 1st round? Would you draft him number 1 overall? Probably. You'd probably draft him number 1 overall if you knew who he was going to be. If you were 2016, he's a 5th round draft pick, but you knew 5 years from now, 6 years from now, he's going to be the best receiver in football. You're going to say, I'm going to draft him 1st overall no matter how stupid I look. And everyone said that guy was an undrafted free agent. What the hell are you doing? You would be right because he's going to be a stud. when it comes to this after the first round and everything is up for grabs, it's basically just a shit show. You don't really know who's going to pan out or what's going to happen. You can't really go wrong taking a guy you think is going to have better value than a second round draft pick, right? The Giants have been a graveyard of mid round picks in the past couple of years. If they think a guy's going to fit their system and offer them significant value, who are we to say that they're wrong? Because Wan'Dale Robinson could be an electrifying playmaker. He could end up having over 70 yards a game. Every single game he has an electric play, a screen pass he takes for 20, 30 yards, and he gets that first down, puts it into scoring position, whatever it might be. I have no idea. But I'm sure it's going to happen next season and the seasons following. But my point being here is he could totally fail, right? He could totally not be that good. But I think it's fair to give the benefit of the doubt just based on the fact that we don't know how good or what these value of the players are going to be. And he is a valuable player in terms of just face value as a receiver, being able to do so many things in terms of screen passes and jet sweeps and end arounds and, gadgetry, but also running really good routes, like a crisp route runner with electrifying feet and change of direction. Now he does have the smallest catch radius in football, the 0th percentile, which is definitely going to limit him, especially if Daniel Jones can't throw accurately. So that's a concern. He's also maybe not the strongest guy in the world, although he did put up 19 reps with 225 at 180 pounds, which is just freaking insane, by the way. I do think that he's going to be a good player for the Giants not because of what he's capable of doing, but because of how the Giants use him. When it comes to guys like Wan'Dale Robinson, Anthony, it's about scheme. And if you don't know how to scheme players like that, like we saw Jason Garrett with Kadarius Toney last year, that's when you get into trouble. But I think Mike Kafka and Brian Daboll have a good idea of how they're going to use Wan'Dale Robinson, and it's probably going to make him look a lot better than what his actual tangible attributes are. What do you think about that logic?
I mean, I think that logic makes sense. Once again, it's falling in line with the fact that I believe he's going to be a gadget player to start his career for the Giants. And I do think that the Giants drafted him with a specific role in mind, and they're going to try and get the most out of him utilizing that specific role. So Wan'Dale does fit that role of being a gadget player. We've seen plenty of his film. We did a film breakdown on him. We've seen him catch some screen passes, break some tackles, turn up field, and gain some yardage. We've seen him used in a variety of ways. We've seen him line up as a running back. He used to play running back. I mean, yes, he is really undersized. This is not a guy that I expect to line up as an X receiver ever in his career because he doesn't have the arm length, he doesn't have the height, he just does not have that skill set. Those physical attributes that he needs to play on the outside are not there. But can he play the Z? Can he play, in the slot? And yeah, those are the things that he can do maybe. And he's going to have to develop that part of his game to become a better route runner, to hopefully be a little bit better at catching the football because, it's going to be an uphill battle for him with those short arms. You mentioned it. Daniel Jones is going to have to be pinpoint accurate when throwing Wan'Dale the ball, which is why I don't expect him to get many deep targets. I don't expect him to be that Tyreek Hill because Tyreek Hill goes downfield and he can get under any single ball because he's so fast. He could just get to it and run with it, right? But Wan'Dale doesn't really have that kind of next level speed. So you have to be accurate when throwing downfield with Wan'Dale Robinson. And unfortunately, with his really short arms in the 0th percentile, it makes things really difficult. You have to be pinpoint accurate. And for Daniel Jones, I think when you're talking about him and his accuracy, yeah, he's an accurate deep ball thrower, but he's going to probably be focusing in on giving the ball to Wan'Dale from behind the line of scrimmage, just 10 yards to the right of him, screen passes, let Wan'Dale turn upfield and make some yardage on his own. And that's where he's going to be used, in my opinion. I think he's a really good gadget player, and I think that's how the Giants are going to utilize him. And as you mentioned, I'll say this, yeah, maybe you don't want to draft a gadget player in the second round, but if he ends up being the best gadget player in the NFL, then he has a lot of value, and then he's got first round value. So then it's a good pick. So I kind of agree with the logic that you were going with, where, if you knew that Tyreek Hill was going to be the best receiver in football, you're not drafting him in the 5th round. You're taking him with the first overall pick. I agree with that logic, and I think it makes sense.
Yeah. So if you think a guy's going to have extraordinary value at the next level and you have a scheme that's going to benefit him, it totally could pan out. And I think that's with the Giants after the first round, the Giants drafted to scheme. Like it's across the board. Micah McFadden, Darian Beavers, Wan'Dale Robinson, Josh Azudu, like all of those guys were picked scheme related players. So we have to imagine they have an idea what they're going to do with him. They've already indicated as much. But let's move on to another guy, Kayvon Thibodeaux. Kayvon Thibodeaux has been an energy ball. If you watched any of his clips on Twitter and social media, he has just been awesome. And this is what Daboll had to say about him yesterday. It's just been good to get to know him. You have so many different meetings. You meet at the combine, comes up here, you meet with him. He's a good young man, got a lot of energy. Even out there, we had a walkthrough a little while ago. He brings a little bit of juice, good sense of humor. I appreciate him. So when you're looking at Thibodeaux, it's a guy that really, really is showing what he's going to bring in terms of intangibles, right? He has so much energy. He's electrifying. Someone asked him yesterday, I don't know exactly who it was. I think it was maybe Dan Duggan of The Athletic. Maybe he asked him, can you be a leader as a rookie? And Kayvon Thibodeaux came up with a brilliant response. And basically he was just like, I can't, like, I'm not going to lead on the football field as a rookie all the times. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do. But what I'm trying to do is stay on the right path, be a good person, do the right things, and people will ultimately follow that. You know what I mean? He's like, if I do the right things and I act the right way and I put myself in a position to succeed, people will be attracted to that, and that will be my way of leading. It was a brilliant response. It was a great, well thought out response. And this is not like he didn't see this coming either. He didn't have time to prepare for this question. It was on the spot. So I think that really, really stood out to me as a sign that, this kid understands what is being asked of him. Now, when he's on the football field and if he's struggling and he gets booed by Giants fans, and how is he going to react to that? That's a little bit what I'm more curious about. But so far, he's really proven to me he's bringing the energy. He's doing a lot of the things you're supposed to do, and I'm really excited to see what he can accomplish with Big Blue and wearing these colors, because we've needed a generational pass rusher for quite some time. We've really, really missed out on that part of the game since Michael Strahan, Justin Tuck, OC. Like, we need a guy that's going to step up and really lead the charge. And if he pans out, if Kayvon Thibodeaux pans out and he ends up becoming a superstar, he's going to be the biggest name in New York sports. He's going to be the biggest name in New York sports, bigger than Darren Judge, bigger than anybody. Football here just takes it to another level. And I think that he will be the biggest name in sports here if he ends up panning out and becoming a superstar. So I'm hoping that ends up being the truth. But Anthony, when you hear him speak, when you see how he's done already, how are your initial impressions, feeling about him?
I mean, my initial impressions, like, extremely impressed. Okay, so I spent like 30 minutes yesterday just watching his interviews. I was playing FIFA or whatever, and I had my laptop on the side, and I'm clicking through Giants YouTube and Kayvon Thibodeaux interview, right? I'm like, all right, let's watch it. I want to hear how he speaks with the media. I want to hear what he has to say to some of these questions. And then I instantly pause my game and I'm just like, Kayvon Thibodeaux, like, I'm watching this. I'm engaged with what he's saying. He's like inspiring. He's fun to listen to. He's so charismatic. He's like, what you're saying right now in terms of him potentially being the face of New York sports. Absolutely. He has all that charisma. He has that character. He is just somebody that you want to like listen to speak. You just want to hear what he has to say. He's like really fun to listen to. He's fun with the media. He cracks his little jokes. They were like, did you learn anything in your first day of rookie minicamp? He goes, yeah, of course I did, but I'm not telling you. Haha. And then he just kind of moves on. Then he goes to the next question. And then the next question is, can you lead as a rookie? And then he gives us very introspective, well thought out answer on the spot that you just mentioned, Alex. He's a very intelligent young man. He's a really good football player, and he's very fun to watch on the football field and off the football field. I love Kayvon Thibodeaux. I'm buying his jersey in the next month. I can't wait to see what number 5 does on the field. And I think this was a home run draft pick by the New York Giants, and I'm really praying that it does become that. I pray that he pans out because, man, this is just a player that you want to see succeed.
Yeah, I mean, look, he went as far as to say, like, when he heard the music come on for the first time yesterday, he was about to cry. Like, he was just so appreciative of that opportunity. He's got Michael Strahan in his corner. He's got some of these big names in his corner helping him out and making sure he follows the right path. But look, Kayvon Thibodeaux isn't looking at football right now. He's looking at when he's a commentator 20 years down the road. And for him to get there, he has to kick ass at football now. And he understands that, right? He has big, big plans for his future. He talks about them. He's very open about what he wants to accomplish in life. And if you have big plans in the future, you've got to do what needs to be done now to reach those goals and achieve those things. And I think he's got that mentality, man. Like, he's like, I'm going to kill football. I'm going to dominate. I'm going to become an absolute monster, and I'm going to become a freaking commentator one day and make millions of dollars working for ESPN or whoever it might be. So I'm really excited to see what he can accomplish with this team. And man, it's going to be a blast. I'm so excited to see what Kayvon Thibodeaux does.
Yeah, and I'll say with his charisma and kind of his just appreciation for being here, there was a really great moment in his interview yesterday. They were asking him about Wink Martindale's defense and how Wink Martindale loves to turn pass rushers loose. And Kayvon Thibodeaux just went, like he was hungry. And it was really funny. It was a funny moment. And then the next reporter asked a question. They were like, so judging by your reaction, it seems like you savor that. And Kayvon wasn't like, yeah, I savor being a pass rusher. He just goes on this like introspective speech once again. He goes, I savor every moment. When you've been through everything and your life brought you to this point, MetLife, the American dream, the New York Giants. Are you serious? You know what I mean? And then they said the Empire State Building too. And he says, I can't even see it because there's all this greatness right here. For me, it's a dream come true. I mean, that's the stuff that you want to hear. Like, it just it made me fall in love with Kayvon Thibodeaux as a player, as a New York Giant. He is so happy to be a New York Giant. He loves the New York Giants already, and he hasn't even played a down yet for the New York Giants. I'm super excited for Kayvon Thibodeaux. I think just everything he provides to this team, he will be a leader as a rookie on and off the field. You can already tell that. And I'm just so excited to see him get to work, man.
Me too. It's going to be a blast. This season is going to be super fun. Just looking at the rebuild, like I'm not expecting to win any games, right? I'm not expecting to win 10 games, make the playoffs, make a run. I'm just expecting to see positive progress, good offensive schematics, seeing some of these young guys take steps forward and really put their best foot forward and set the tone for what this team is going to look like in the future. And I'm really excited for that. I think the coaching staff has the right attitude. I think that the players have the right attitude, the culture. I mean, look, having seen the shit that we've went through the last couple of years, I want to say it feels different, but I also want to say the players are different. It seems a little bit more like a family again, right? It's not like a dictatorship. It's not like, Joe Judge making them run laps or anything. Like, we've learned our lesson. We've seen what doesn't work. I like that it seems like a family, and the characters that they're bringing in are really, really family oriented, and they want to build something together and have this awesome atmosphere. So hopefully it translates to the football field. A lot of work left to do, like Brian Dable said, but I'm definitely optimistic at this point. I'm definitely excited to see how they can do on the field, guys. But hope you enjoyed this episode, taking a look at the main takeaways yesterday from rookie minicamp. Obviously, they have a couple more days here, so we'll give you guys any updated information or any big news that may come out or be released. But make sure to like and subscribe below on the YouTube channel. Much love, as always. We'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Giants episode.